The story we're about to explore isn't merely a tale of broken promises. It's an examination of human nature, relationship dynamics, and the intricate web of emotions that define our closest connections. Through this account, we'll examine how a seemingly stable 13-year marriage unraveled when one partner chose to cross boundaries with a coworker, leading to profound consequences for everyone involved. Our goal isn't merely to recount events, but to provide insight, understanding, and perhaps even solace to those who have walked similar paths. The foundation of their marriage. John and Emily met during their college years, drawn together by their shared passion for environmental science. Their initial connection blossomed naturally over late-night study sessions and campus activities, gradually evolving into something much deeper. They married shortly after graduation, building a life together based on mutual respect, shared values, and a commitment to each other's personal growth. Over 13 years, they established a solid foundation characterized by several key elements. Communication formed the cornerstone of their relationship from the beginning. Both partners made a conscious effort to maintain open lines of dialogue, discussing everything from daily frustrations to long-term goals. Weekly check-in dinners became a tradition, where they would set aside time to talk about their feelings, concerns, and aspirations without distractions. This practice helped them navigate numerous challenges, including career changes, financial pressures, and the demands of raising two children. Shared responsibilities played a crucial role in maintaining balance within their marriage. John and Emily developed a system where household duties were evenly distributed according to each other's strengths and preferences. While John took charge of home maintenance and yard work, Emily managed meal planning and school-related activities. This division of labor prevented resentment from building and ensured both partners felt equally invested in their family life. Trust developed organically through consistent actions rather than mere words. They maintained transparency about their whereabouts, openly discussed any workplace interactions that might cause concern, and established clear boundaries regarding friendships outside their marriage. Regular date nights and weekend getaways reinforced their commitment to nurturing their romantic connection despite busy schedules. Emotional intimacy remained strong throughout their marriage through intentional efforts to stay connected. They practiced active listening during conversations, celebrated each other's successes no matter how small, and offered support during difficult times. Annual retreats allowed them to reconnect on a deeper level, away from the demands of daily life. These moments of vulnerability and openness created a safe space where both partners felt comfortable expressing their true selves. Their shared vision for the future provided another layer of strength to their relationship. Together, they planned for their children's education, saved for retirement, and dreamed of traveling the world once their kids were grown. This common purpose kept them aligned and motivated to work through inevitable disagreements and setbacks. Their ability to adapt to changing circumstances while maintaining core principles demonstrated remarkable resilience and dedication to their partnership. Through these elements, communication, shared responsibilities, trust, emotional intimacy, and shared vision, John and Emily had built what appeared to be a model marriage. Their relationship seemed impervious to the typical strains that break apart so many long-term partnerships. Yet, beneath the surface, subtle cracks began to form, setting the stage for events neither could have anticipated. The beginning of the affair. The first signs of trouble emerged subtly, almost imperceptibly, during what should have been a routine business trip. Emily, a senior project manager at her firm, was sent to attend a week-long conference in Chicago. What initially seemed like a professional development opportunity gradually transformed into something far more complicated. During networking sessions, she met Mark, a charming coworker from another department who specialized in sustainable technologies, an area closely aligned with her own interests. Their initial conversations revolved around work-related topics, yet quickly expanded into more personal territory. Over coffee breaks and evening gatherings, they discovered numerous shared passions beyond their professional field. Both came from similar backgrounds, had comparable views on environmental issues, and even shared favorite books and movies. These commonalities created an instant connection that went beyond mere professional camaraderie. As the week progressed, their interactions became increasingly intimate, though still seemingly innocent. Late-night discussions about industry trends gave way to more personal revelations about their lives, ambitions, and frustrations. Emily found herself opening up to Mark in ways she hadn't with anyone else in years, including John. The emotional closeness they developed surprised even her, revealing needs she hadn't realized she'd been suppressing. Upon returning from the conference, Emily and Mark maintained their connection through frequent email exchanges and occasional lunch meetings. At first, these interactions remained strictly professional, focused on collaborative projects that could benefit their company. However, as months passed, their communications evolved into something more personal. They began sharing details about their personal lives, offering support and understanding that seemed to fill gaps neither had acknowledged existed in their respective marriages. The turning point came during a company-sponsored team-building retreat 6 months later. Secluded in a mountain resort, away from the usual constraints of office environment and family obligations, the boundaries between friendship and something more blurred significantly. Late-night conversations stretched into hours, fueled by wine and shared confidences. One evening, after a particularly intense discussion about unfulfilled desires and missed opportunities, the physical aspect of their relationship naturally followed the emotional connection they'd been cultivating. Emily justified her actions initially by rationalizing that nothing truly significant had changed in her marriage. She convinced herself that her relationship with John remained intact, that this new connection represented merely a harmless diversion from the stresses of daily life. The affair continued sporadically over the next several months, carefully orchestrated to avoid detection. Business trips, conferences, and weekend seminars provided convenient cover for their meetings, which grew increasingly frequent as their emotional attachment deepened. Throughout this period, Emily experienced a complex mix of guilt and excitement. On one hand, she knew she was betraying the trust she'd worked so hard to build with John. On the other, the intensity of her connection with Mark offered a sense of validation and excitement she hadn't felt in years. This duality created an internal conflict that manifested in subtle changes in her behavior at home: increased defensiveness during arguments, avoidance of certain topics, and a growing need for personal space that John couldn't quite understand. The discovery. The truth finally came to light during what should have been a routine evening at home. John, working late on a major client proposal, decided to surprise Emily by bringing dinner home. As he entered their bedroom to change clothes before joining her, his eyes caught sight of something unusual on her nightstand: a folded piece of paper peeking out from beneath her journal. Initially dismissing it as one of her grocery lists, curiosity got the better of him. Upon closer inspection, he recognized Mark's name scrawled across the top of what appeared to be a hotel receipt from a city 3 states away. The discovery triggered a cascade of emotions that left John momentarily paralyzed. His mind raced through possible explanations, each more improbable than the last. Denial warred with disbelief as he tried to reconcile this evidence with the wife he thought he knew so well. Gathering his courage, he approached Emily in the living room where she sat reading, completely unaware of the storm brewing around her. "What's this?" John asked, holding up the receipt with trembling hands. Emily froze, her face draining of color as realization dawned. For a moment, neither spoke as the weight of the situation settled between them. Finally, Emily dropped her book and buried her face in her hands, confirming John's worst fears through her silence. The confrontation that followed was unlike anything either had experienced in their 13 years together. John's voice rose with each revelation, demanding answers to questions he never thought he'd have to ask. How long had this been going on? Why hadn't she told him? Where had all the little lies and evasions led? Emily, torn between shame and guilt, struggled to articulate responses that made any sense. Her explanations came out in fragments, revealing the depth and duration of the affair in pieces that shattered what remained of their fragile trust. During this heated exchange, several key details emerged that added layers of complexity to the situation. The affair had started innocently enough, as a professional connection that gradually evolved into something more. Emily admitted to feeling neglected emotionally in recent years, though she couldn't pinpoint exactly when things had changed between them. The stress of juggling careers, parenting, and household responsibilities had taken its toll, creating distance that neither had fully acknowledged until now. More disturbingly, John discovered that the affair wasn't confined to rare occasions, but had become a regular part of Emily's life. Business trips, conferences, and weekend seminars had provided convenient cover for their meetings. Even more shocking was the revelation that some of these encounters had taken place less than 20 miles from their home, in hotels they frequently visited for family vacations. The emotional toll of this discovery manifested differently in each partner. John experienced waves of anger, hurt, and confusion that threatened to overwhelm him. He questioned every memory of their marriage, wondering if there had ever been genuine love or if everything had been a lie. Emily, meanwhile, oscillated between self-loathing and desperate attempts to justify her actions. She pleaded for understanding, claiming she never intended to hurt him and that her actions stemmed from unmet needs rather than malice. This initial confrontation marked the beginning of a long and painful process of unraveling their relationship. The veneer of normalcy that had sustained them for so many years crumbled under the weight of betrayal, leaving both partners struggling to find footing in this new reality. Neither could escape the knowledge that their marriage would never be the same again, regardless of whether they chose to repair it or walk away. The emotional aftermath. In the weeks following the revelation, both John and Emily found themselves adrift in a sea of conflicting emotions, each experiencing their own unique brand of torment. For John, the initial shock gave way to a tsunami of anger that swept through every aspect of his life. Simple tasks like preparing breakfast for the kids became monumental challenges as his mind replayed memories of shared moments, now tainted by the knowledge of deception. Sleep eluded him as he lay awake at night, mentally cataloging every instance of suspected infidelity and questioning the validity of their entire relationship. His anger manifested physically as well, taking the form of clenched fists during morning commutes and sudden bursts of temper when confronted with mundane decisions. Friends noticed the change immediately. The once jovial man who enjoyed telling stories at social gatherings now seemed distant and irritable. Work performance suffered as his concentration wavered, deadlines slipped, and mistakes accumulated. Colleagues expressed concern about his declining mental state, prompting interventions from supervisors that only served to highlight his deteriorating condition. For Emily, guilt consumed her thoughts day and night. Every interaction with John brought fresh waves of shame, making even basic conversations excruciatingly painful. She found herself avoiding eye contact, speaking in hushed tones, and constantly seeking reassurance that she hadn't destroyed everything they'd built together. The weight of her actions pressed down upon her shoulders, manifesting as physical symptoms, headaches, stomach pains, and chronic fatigue that no amount of rest could alleviate. Her relationship with their children suffered as well. Once a source of comfort and joy, family time now carried an undercurrent of tension that affected everyone involved. Playdates ended early, homework assistance became perfunctory, and bedtime stories lost their magic as her mind remained preoccupied with thoughts of betrayal and its consequences. Attempts to connect with her daughters resulted in awkward silences and forced smiles that only deepened her sense of isolation. Both partners experienced periods of denial, though expressed in different ways. John occasionally convinced himself that the whole ordeal must be some terrible misunderstanding, a fabrication born of paranoia and stress. He'd catch glimpses of the old Emily in fleeting moments, her laughter during family dinners, her gentle touch when comforting their youngest child, and wonder if perhaps redemption was possible. These moments of hope inevitably crashed against the harsh reality of evidence and admissions, leaving him more devastated than before. Emily's denial took the form of justification. In quiet moments alone, she constructed elaborate narratives explaining her actions, how the affair filled emotional voids, how Mark understood aspects of her personality that John seemed to overlook, how the relationship represented a cry for help rather than malicious intent. These rationalizations provided temporary relief, but ultimately compounded her guilt when confronted with the truth of her choices. Their shared history became a double-edged sword, simultaneously offering comfort and inflicting pain. Memories of their early years together, first dates, wedding vows, birth of their children, serve as reminders of what they'd lost while also providing faint glimmers of hope for reconciliation. Each cherished moment now carried dual significance, representing both the beauty of their past and the fragility of their present situation. The impact extended beyond immediate emotional reactions, affecting fundamental aspects of their identities. John began questioning his worth as a husband, father, and provider. Was he inadequate in some way? Had he failed to meet Emily's needs? These doubts eroded his confidence, influencing his interactions with colleagues and friends. Emily, meanwhile, wrestled with her self-perception as a mother, wife, and professional. Could someone capable of such betrayal still claim to be a good person? How could she reconcile her actions with the values she'd always believed defined her character? The emotional landscape of their marriage transformed into a minefield of triggers and landmines. Ordinary conversations about household chores, school schedules, and weekend plans became fraught with tension, each word potentially reigniting old wounds or uncovering new sources of pain. Attempts at communication often devolved into shouting matches or icy silences, further damaging what little trust remained between them. Social circles reacted differently to the unfolding drama, adding another layer of complexity to their emotional struggles. Some friends rallied around John, offering support and advice while condemning Emily's actions. Others adopted a wait-and-see attitude, careful not to take sides while maintaining contact with both parties. Family members, particularly their parents, weighed in with opinions ranging from forgiveness to condemnation, creating additional pressure on both partners as they navigated this tumultuous period. Through it all, both John and Emily grappled with the fundamental question of whether their relationship could survive such a betrayal. The emotional scars ran deep, threatening to sever ties that had once seemed unbreakable. Yet amidst the chaos and pain, flickers of hope occasionally surfaced, moments of genuine connection. Shared glances across the dinner table, or quiet acknowledgments of mutual suffering that suggested the possibility of healing, however remote it might seem. Impact on children and extended family. The ripple effects of marital infidelity extend far beyond the primary couple, profoundly impacting their children and extended family members. For John and Emily's daughters, ages 10 and 7, the situation manifested in various behavioral changes that signaled underlying distress. The older child, normally an excellent student, began struggling academically, showing signs of anxiety during tests and assignments. Teachers noted increased instances of withdrawal during group activities and reluctance to participate in classroom discussions. Meanwhile, the younger daughter exhibited regressive behaviors, including bedwetting and clinginess, as she struggled to process the tension permeating their home environment. Extended family members responded differently depending on their relationship with the couple. Emily's parents, initially shocked by the revelation, attempted to mediate, believing that 13 years of marriage deserved a second chance. They organized family gatherings aimed at fostering reconciliation, though these efforts often exacerbated tensions rather than alleviating them. John's siblings, on the other hand, adopted a protective stance, criticizing Emily's actions and urging John to prioritize his own well-being and that of their children. The situation placed immense pressure on family traditions and rituals. Holiday gatherings, once joyful occasions filled with laughter and shared meals, became tense affairs where every conversation carried potential landmines. Grandparents, caught between loyalty to their children and concern for their grandchildren, struggled to maintain neutrality while supporting all family members. Siblings found themselves torn between offering comfort and giving advice, often resulting in strained relationships among cousins and in-laws. The children's social lives also suffered collateral damage. Classmates and friends' parents, aware of the family's difficulties through community gossip, sometimes treated the girls differently, creating uncomfortable situations at school events and playdates. This external awareness of their parents' problems added another layer of stress for the children, who already bore the burden of witnessing their parents' emotional turmoil at home. Financial considerations further complicated matters. As the couple considered potential separation or divorce, discussions about property division and child custody arrangements introduced new anxieties for the entire family. Grandparents worried about the stability of their grandchildren's upbringing, while siblings questioned how best to support either party financially without appearing to take sides. These practical concerns intersected with emotional ones, creating a complex web of inter-family dynamics that required careful navigation. The impact on extended family manifested differently across generations. Younger relatives, particularly nieces and nephews close in age to the daughters, struggled to understand why their cousins' parents weren't acting normal anymore. Older relatives, including aunts and uncles, often found themselves mediating disputes or serving as confidants for both John and Emily, trying to maintain family harmony while processing their own feelings about the situation. Community perception played a significant role in shaping family interactions. As news of the affair spread through their tight-knit neighborhood, well-meaning neighbors offered unsolicited advice or judgment, complicating already delicate family dynamics. Family gatherings became opportunities for unwanted commentary or intrusive questions, forcing everyone to develop strategies for handling sensitive topics while preserving relationships. Through these challenges, the family system adapted in various ways. Some members stepped up to provide additional support, helping with childcare or offering emotional encouragement. Others withdrew temporarily, needing space to process their own reactions to the situation. The overall impact highlighted the interconnected nature of family relationships, demonstrating how individual actions reverberate through multiple layers of kinship networks. Consequences and reflections. The fallout from Emily's infidelity revealed profound insights into the nature of trust, commitment, and human frailty within long-term relationships. 13 years of marriage, once considered an unshakable foundation, proved surprisingly vulnerable to the corrosive effects of secrecy and betrayal. John's experience of discovering the affair taught him that trust, while easily broken, requires monumental effort to rebuild, if it can be rebuilt at all. The process of confronting his wife's actions forced him to reevaluate not only their relationship, but also his understanding of love, fidelity, and personal responsibility. Emily's journey through guilt and self-recrimination offered valuable lessons about the dangers of neglecting emotional needs within marriage. Her affair, initially justified as a search for validation and understanding, ultimately exposed deeper issues in their relationship that neither partner had adequately addressed. The experience underscored the importance of maintaining open communication channels and recognizing subtle warning signs of disconnection before they escalate into full-blown crises. The affair's impact on their children and extended family highlighted the far-reaching consequences of marital infidelity. What began as a private matter between two adults rippled outward, affecting multiple generations and reshaping family dynamics in unpredictable ways. This broader perspective emphasized the communal nature of marriage and the responsibility partners bear toward those who depend on their relationship's stability. Through this painful chapter, both John and Emily gain clarity about the essential components of successful long-term partnerships. Trust emerges not from blind faith, but from consistent actions that demonstrate reliability and integrity. Communication must extend beyond surface-level exchanges to encompass vulnerable, honest discussions about needs, fears, and aspirations. Emotional intimacy requires ongoing investment, with both partners actively contributing to the relationship's vitality rather than assuming it will sustain itself automatically. The experience also illuminated the critical role of accountability in personal growth. For Emily, acknowledging her mistakes and accepting responsibility for her actions represented a pivotal step toward redemption and self-improvement. For John, choosing how to respond to the betrayal, whether through forgiveness or separation, demanded careful consideration of his values and priorities. Both partners learned that recovery from such trauma involves not just addressing the immediate crisis, but rebuilding their individual identities and relationship frameworks. Perhaps most importantly, this story demonstrates that even the strongest marriages require vigilance and care. The illusion of security that comes with years of commitment can obscure underlying vulnerabilities, making partners complacent about maintaining connection and communication. The affair served as a wake-up call, forcing both John and Emily to confront uncomfortable truths about their relationship and themselves. Moving forward, paths to resolution. Facing the aftermath of such profound betrayal presents two distinct yet intertwined paths forward: reconciliation and separation. Each option carries its own set of challenges and requirements, demanding significant commitment from both partners regardless of the chosen direction. Reconciliation, while offering the possibility of restoring their marriage, necessitates rigorous work on multiple fronts. Establishing new patterns of communication becomes paramount, requiring structured sessions with a qualified therapist to address unresolved issues and prevent future misunderstandings. Therapeutic approaches tailored to their specific situation would likely include cognitive behavioral techniques to identify triggers and habitual thinking patterns that contributed to the affair. Emotionally focused therapy could help both partners rediscover and strengthen their emotional bond, teaching them how to express vulnerability and seek support from each other in healthy ways. Additionally, establishing clear boundaries around workplace relationships and developing strategies for managing stressors would prove essential in preventing similar situations in the future. Should they choose separation or divorce, the process demands equal attention to emotional and practical considerations. Creating a comprehensive co-parenting plan becomes crucial for maintaining stability in their children's lives, involving detailed schedules for visitation, decision-making authority, and communication protocols. Financial arrangements must be negotiated carefully, considering not just immediate needs but long-term implications for retirement savings, property division, and ongoing expenses related to raising their daughters. Regardless of the path selected, both John and Emily face the challenge of rebuilding their individual identities post-crisis. Personal growth plans incorporating regular counseling sessions, participation in support groups, and development of new hobbies or interests could facilitate this transformation. Establishing routines that promote self-care and emotional well-being will prove vital in helping each partner navigate the transition ahead. The decision to pursue reconciliation or separation ultimately depends on several key factors: the degree of trust that remains, both partners' willingness to commit to the necessary work, and their capacity for forgiveness and acceptance. Professional guidance from experienced therapists specializing in marital issues can provide valuable insight during this decision-making process, helping them assess whether their relationship possesses the fundamental elements needed for recovery or if separation represents a healthier choice for all involved parties. Lessons learned and moving forward. The journey through marital infidelity offers profound lessons about the complexities of human relationships and the resilience required to navigate life's most challenging moments. For John and Emily, Their experience has illuminated the importance of continuous investment in their partnership, emphasizing that even the strongest foundations require regular maintenance to withstand life's pressures. The affair served as a stark reminder that emotional intimacy, often overlooked amid daily responsibilities, forms the heart of any lasting relationship. Looking ahead, both partners face the daunting task of integrating these lessons into their future, whether together or separately. For those considering reconciliation, the road ahead involves not just repairing damaged trust, but redefining their relationship on firmer ground. This process requires adopting new communication strategies, establishing clear boundaries, and committing to regular check-ins that prevent future disconnects. Therapeutic approaches focusing on emotional regulation and conflict resolution will prove invaluable in rebuilding their partnership. Those choosing separation must similarly apply these lessons to their individual lives, using the experience as a catalyst for personal growth. Developing healthier coping mechanisms, building stronger support networks, and pursuing meaningful interests outside the confines of marriage become essential components of post-crisis recovery. The skills acquired during this difficult period, self-awareness, emotional regulation, and boundary setting, will serve them well in future relationships and personal endeavors. For others facing similar challenges, this story underscores the importance of proactive relationship management. Recognizing early warning signs of disconnection, prioritizing regular communication, and addressing issues before they escalate can prevent minor grievances from becoming insurmountable obstacles. Seeking professional guidance at the first sign of trouble demonstrates maturity and commitment to preserving the relationship. Ultimately, the experience highlights the transformative power of adversity when approached with honesty and intentionality. Whether choosing to rebuild or move on, the lessons learned from this painful chapter offer valuable insights into what makes relationships thrive: mutual respect, open communication, an unwavering commitment to each other's well-being. As John and Emily navigate their separate paths forward, they carry with them a deeper understanding of love's complexities and the enduring strength required to maintain meaningful connections.